the hell is that song? Alright. Video posted. Not doing well, as expected. It is a 40K video, and I do talk about sort of a vloggy thing. It's not really trendy. Especially now, with all the Warhammer hate. It's been kind of crack-a-lackin'. So I need to make sure. Oh, nope, wrong. Hang on. I feel like I just got to change the f-stop at this point. Take it to 11. Why is there so much ragtime on this jazz playlist? That's what I heard, man. They've changed a lot of it. I feel like they'll be bright. Nice. Light Lords, though. I guess you're just going to use them as a Death Guard? Forgot to do the dog's lower jaw. Wanted it to be like slightly darker. You do the eye sockets slightly darker. I think at this point we mostly just need to do layer colors as like flats. We need to readjust definitely some of the metals. That's a thing. We need to get the tongues as well. I want to do the tongues. Behold, though, my super simple Kroot paint scheme. It's so easy. It's mostly done with contrast paint, which, you know, that already makes it way faster than you'd expect. I need to pull this out. I'm noticing the focus is not great. But that's good. It's good to have projects. It's good to stay busy. And if you have the right projects to allow other people the ability to try something out, it's always fun. What up, Dragon? Alright, who else has their mouth open over here? So is it like all Kroot look better? At this point? Like, is that the consensus, I guess, that we're at? I kind of like how these Farstalkers look. They've got some decent detail on them. Can't find my red speed paint. Hang on. Like, this is actually a little annoying. Got it. I'm about to change to ambient music, see what happens. Genre, ambient. Take the risk. I don't care what vibe we get today as long as it's consistent. And going between like blues, jazz, ragtime, it's like, dude, please stop. Please. I think I've heard this in a video game before. Like a big video game. want to tone the metal, definitely. We're going to want to do highlights on the spines and spikes. That's definitely on the menu. And then, yeah, it's going to come down to doing flat colors in some spots. We also got to pick a color for the handles. I think I know what I want to go with, though. Probably gonna end up being like a sand golem. Could probably fix it here. Nice. Yeah, I'm still... Green stuff came back in. So, we've got the model kit for the new Terminator. The Dark Angels Terminator. So I was like, oh, I gotta wait till I get green stuff because my local store was just out of green stuff. Where you at, Sand Golem? There you are. And then I went in there today. And they apparently bought a ton of new green stuff. Specifically from like the new company that they get stuff from, Gale Force. It's like big bricks. It's way bigger than the stuff that I would buy before. And they do the thing that I said on stream I wished Army Painter did. They split the two different colors into their own different things. So they're not pre-attached, which means they're chemically not drying like consistently. So, you know, huge benefit. Huge benefit. Put that sand golem down. I like it. It's like slightly brown. Is your local game store like a warehouse that people can just go into that supplies like, I guess, online shipping for things? But then like if you buy it in store, you can also just buy it there as well? That's pretty cool. Do they have a big place to play? That's like, that would be my dream, right? That's kind of like the built-in goal that I have kind of in my head of making a place that's like warehouse sized, where there's like a ton of area to play for like local players that can hold events and stuff. But then also, you know, serves a secondary purchase or a secondary purpose for making money by like reselling games and stuff on the internet. Which I think is kind of the way people go, right? Like there's from at least what my buddy knows, from what we found by looking into different companies, there's things like Warpfire Miniatures that provide anyone that purchased Games Workshop products through them a slight discount on said products, which is not something Games Workshop, I imagine, likes. The idea of an online storefront giving you Games Workshop products for less than the Games Workshop website. But for some reason, they're letting it happen, which is interesting to me. Warpfire? Oh, nice. So you're near the Warpfire main area. That's cool. There's a few others too. Like I think Eons of Gaming talks about Valhalla games usually. I think that's another one that kind of does the same thing. It's both interesting and, to a degree, an issue with the gaming side of things. Because the problem is that, of course, Games Workshop would prefer to make all that money that you're getting as like a discount through buying from them. Aethermatic isn't good. We'll go a different route. They would much... I mean, let me just zoom this out. I'm not getting enough detail in for you guys. So Games Workshop doesn't get like... They'd prefer everyone to be equal price, because then like Warpfire not only takes money from like them, but also from local stores as well. Like... Sometimes when I'm here, I'll be like, oh, I could go to my local shop and pick up this thing, but then I'm like, or I could just order it from Warpfire and be done with it. So it creates like a little weird problem. Where's my bone tone? There we are. Oh, dude, you'll find the old stuff like that for hella cheap at like almost any game store. My local store is trying to like offload that stuff for like 50-60% off, because I brought it up in my one video where I go over the issues of going back to print medium for the rules and trying to get people to buy the print medium. Like, we basically just fully Pandora's boxed into like the best possible method of rules delivery to people, and then we walked away from it. And it's like, I don't know if you can do that. That's probably not gonna be a good look going forward. Because dude, not having physical print media for your rules as like an option, great, because I know a lot of people who would like straight buy it because they love the lore, they love all that stuff. But like for new players who just want to play the game, they don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of going to a store and being like, ooh, this Dark Eldar army's interesting, are the rules out? No? Okay. Well, I like the Space Marines, do you have the Codex? No? They don't have internet? Damn. Got owned, sir. You got owned. Is there another guy with goggles? This guy has a skull and chest bag things. Ah, the boonies. A land forgotten by time. Figured the video today wouldn't do well. I noticed that it's kind of a weird thing, and I don't want to even, like, I'm not really trying to focus on it at all. But I noticed that unless when I talk about 40K stuff, I talk about it from the perspective of like drama. Like if that video I dropped this morning was like female custodies, like, oh my god, it would have gotten views. But like I don't care. I don't really care about that much. No, yeah. We were talking about ASMR painting the other day. Because technically, one of the earliest ASMR streamers, I guess we would call it, or just personalities, was Bob Ross. I mean, he would sit there in front of you guys and talk about his happy little trees. Just get real quiet about it and let you know, like, everything's alright. Not only was it ASMR in voice, but he also approached, or at least the people who made the show, and I don't think they did this on purpose, they approached the way the audio was mixed for the show in a very ASMR fashion as well. Because I know low vocal pattern, low toning is like the key of ASMR, right? But within ASMR, there's also a level of it where the things you interact with that make noise also need to be at a certain tone and level to make the person listening kind of experience the ASMR tingles that people talk about, right? Which, if you remember the old Bob Ross, you could hear the bristles of his brush pushing against the canvas every single time he did anything. Which is basically the same exact thing. They nailed it, man. That show was flawless. It sucks seeing all like the ugly stuff about it come out after the fact. Because, like, it's kind of hard to, I guess, determine what's real and what isn't about what people are saying occurred back then and what's going on now. Because, like, the son seems bitter that pretty much the entirety of his father's legacy is owned by, like, some specific group. And that he doesn't have, like, a dime from it. But, like, I can't be sure that that complaint isn't coming from someone who maybe had, like, a falling out with his dad. Like, there's... It's the issue of... We don't know. We weren't there. So there was, like, this whole documentary, basically, from the perspective of Bob Ross's son, talking about how, like, he got kind of screwed over. But, like, I don't know if that was the case. I have no clue. All I can do is hope that the people doing the documentary did their due diligence to make sure whatever they were telling us was actually 100% truth. And not just something that they explicitly focused on and didn't check anything in order to put out. So it's like, hopefully. I mean, maybe. We're kind of trying to power through these guys. Because I am a little bit interested in getting to my Krieg that I have set aside over here. Because I want to see if my idea for how to make their capes work is actually going to work. Like, I'm super interested in seeing the result of my idea. That's kind of like the big thing, right? When you're painting stuff for miniatures, you look at it, you have an idea. You look at your colors, and then you assume how they're going to look together. You can then, of course, you know, get a model, test it, do all that stuff. Or you can do what I do. And just go, man, I hope this works. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Man, I really hope this works. Red in there. So I gotta get in touch with my team that we're going to the 4-person game with, and I gotta figure out what I need to think of for my list. Because the issue with my list is that it's kind of hodgepodge right now, and I like that it's hodgepodge. I really do. I love that it's hodgepodge. But if somebody else on my team is running knights, like I'm coming to find out that depending on TO, you might be limited in what your choices are on field, based on, of course, what your teammates bring, to the point where for your team you cannot have a Chaos Knight and an Imperial Knight at the same time. They'll actually make it so you can only have one Knight's team. and that also you can't have allies from detachments that are already in use, or multiple teams can't have allies from those detachments. So like, if I play Thousand Suns and someone else plays Chaos Space Marines, and my Chaos Space Marine player is like, I really need to use my War Dogs, then like I have to make a different call, because then I can't use Knights as well. The last tournament I went through wasn't this way, because one of my opponent's teams, from what I can tell, I think, was the Black Templar player had a knight, I believe. I think. I'm not fully sure. It might have been my my teammate, but I thought he had a knight. And then I was playing against a full knight player, a full Imperial Knight player. So I thought it was like different, or at the very least both of them had assassins, which is another thing. Like, that's the thing. If you can't take allies, multiple ally types across multiple lists, that means you can't have assassins on like more than one list. So it kind of limits even your Space Marine usage. I'm kind of waiting to hear at some point my team go, hey, we picked up the one guy on the team picked up Thousand Suns as a team, and then we have a Knights player, so you can't play Chaos Knights. Do you have something you can play instead? And I'll be like, great, I'll bring my Gene Stealer Cult. I'm never making it to turn 5 again. No. How do we want this bird? This goddamn bird right here. He's just being a burb. I think I want him to be multicolored. I'm thinking runic gray for one of them. Because it has next to no peak color in it, pretty much. Okay, I 100% have heard this song in a video game. Actually, I think this is a song I use. Yeah, this is a song that I think I used it in my recent video. We'll probably white tip the wings. Do like an ash gray or something for the white tip on the outside. Yeah, what are you guys all up to? I'm getting kind of annoyed that I'm seeing a lot of like medium to small channels getting their hands on like the frickin' Mandrake kill team early and stuff. Like I'm literally watching these people I've never seen before be like, I just got the Mandrakes early. I'm like, what? Who gave you those? Where can I order? Because I kind of want to paint them. My buddy's not buying the Nightmares box. He's just going to buy the Mandrakes on their own when they drop, it looks like. So I have to decide whether or not I want Edgelord Dwarves as a team. Shit's getting financially burdensome. I need to start doing more with what I got. Making more vids. No, yeah, they look good. They look very samey, but they look good. We're gonna do kind of like the ash white chest, ash white head, and ash white wingtips. Be kind of the plumage. They do look good. I wonder how they're gonna sell them after the fact though, because it does look like a Legionary box, like as a base. I'm wondering if they're just gonna be like, buy the upgrade kit, and it's just a box, kind of like how the Ball Predator parts and stuff are that just dropped, where it's like, yeah, you just get the components and that's it. Because I mean, that's what the Night Lords kind of are, right? Like, they're kind of like the Space Marine upgrade kits for the other factions, like the Imperial Fists and stuff. It's just slightly more things. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just like, here's the box, go. He a bird. Straight burb. I need to get light behind here, so I feel like you guys are seeing too much of the shadow. Hang on. Word bearers would be cool. I played word bearers at one point. I liked them. Word bearers were pretty legit. I think I'd play them better now, though. Because I played word bearers back in the day, and when everyone was like, they summon demons, and I was like, I don't have any demons. I just like the word bearers, because they're red and silver. Like, that was actually the only reason I played them. Red and silver. Great. And now that I have some demons on hand, I'm like, I can play word bearers. We could go that route if I need to. What's back here? Is that a binoc? That's a binoc. Because I wouldn't mind it, right? Just pick up a couple cool demons, even though they massively nerfed Demon Alliance interaction with Chaos. Made me sad. Although at the same time, I do also kind of like what they did because there are really cool demons. Oh. Jabooby. Okay. There we go. Binoc and Asserman Blue. We need to start toning the metal. Because it can't just all be metal. Like, it can't just all be one color metal. Plate stop. Behold the true power of snakebite leather. The ability to make any silver metal brass.
Poggers.
Warlock. Another follow. These are either from the stream or from the video I just dropped. I'm not sure. Hopefully the video picks up in viewership. Be nice. I'm not exactly expecting it, but... Is this the right color? Yeah. Brass. Let's do brass in here. We can do maybe front plate brass. I'm realizing that is actually a wrap. Means I need the shyish purple. gun. Get this giant white disc that's hyper reflective out of the background. That'd be nice. We actually magnetized the tri-arbalist onto this guy's hands so that we could swap it to the other gun whenever we want to. The tri-arbalist is the long-range gun, to my memory. This is the one you want when you need to like AP down opponents over time. Hell yeah. Well, thanks, Warlock. That seems to be the case. I enjoy people swinging in to learn the format. It's a great format. I enjoy it heavily. I wish people locally to me were more into the idea of playing it. The issue I'm running into right now is that like the bulk of everyone in the area is all about 40k. Even though almost every game I go to, when I talk to people about, you know, Kill Team while I'm playing 40k, they're like, dude, I really wish I played Kill Team. Like, I wish I understood it. And I was like, oh, I got good news. I can really help you understand it. But like they're into 40k, which is mostly due to there being a very large 40k tournament scene around here, which is crazy because there's also a very large Kill Team tournament scene around here. There's a lot of people in this area that put on Kill Team tournaments, usually within at least an hour and a half of this location. Some of the biggest ones actually pop up around here. Let me tone this. this. So it's just one of those situations where it's like, man, I really wish I could get these people on board. It'd be great. I guess it's just the case of like, in tabletop, you sort of have to decide to like master very few things because of how intricate all the rules can be. Like, even for me, I'm like constantly running into the issue of mistaking rules for one system as the rules that I understand for another. Like, one too many times have I mistaken how certain abilities work, or certain targeting, I guess, works, by assuming the kill team rules for 40k. Because the more I've played 40k, the more I kind of like the balance of the kill team function for it. And I'm like, I mean, it's, oh god, no, that's too much. And it's like, yeah, you can go either way with it, I guess. But like, I gotta remember how it works. Like, I've noticed people start to slow roll a lot more in 10th, and I was wondering, because the Sisters player that I talk about in the video that I put out today, almost every time I do any damage to him, he would slow roll the dice, and I didn't know why, but I guess, like, he gains benefit, right? Like, as far as I can tell, you have to consider the rules in 40k. When you attack, it's per dice. So there's this weird notion of, let's say you gain a benefit, like your squad goes up in like toughness or something at like half. I think that just triggers like ASAP, right? So there's this odd notion of if your toughness goes up when your squad's below half or something, or like the durability goes up. I don't think this happens that often though. But like your opponent kind of needs to roll to your half marker. Alternating activations is good, dude. You want the ultimate alternating activation feel. I'm gonna do a video on this soon. I keep saying I'm gonna do a video on this soon. Originally, I thought I was gonna do a battle report, but I honestly just need to do like a flat video for it. Frickin' Underworlds is actually really cool. The card game element does add a lot of like randomness, but you don't, like, Kill Team has kind of the issue that Horde teams tend to do extremely well, because Horde teams are able to make it to turn 4 with very little issue and are able to continue doing missions as they go without pretty much any problem, right? Like, they just do the work and they're fine. That's why the Commandos tend to be at top. That's why Vet Guard tend to be at top. Honestly, Farstalkers. I feel like if more people played Farstalkers who were like good at the game, we'd see more Farstalkers in top 10 situations. Because this is a pretty good Horde team. No, yeah, mixed units with feel no pain, it's important. But like, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of slow roll in situations where I didn't expect slow roll. But the way it goes is if something increases about your squad at any point, if you're like at a certain point, or if anything decreases at a certain point, technically you need your opponent to slow roll just as much as you need to slow roll. So if you're firing into something, and let's say you kill 5 of it, and it suddenly gains this benefit of like, hey, after this point, it's -1 to hit rolls. That gets to the point where if you fast roll that, the rolls you have in front of you aren't going to work exactly. So like if it's a 10-man squad and you have to kill 5 to get to that point, you have to roll in chunks of 5 until 5 are dead, and then from that point forward you can speed roll at -1 to hit, because the models die as the dice are resolved, whereas the beauty of Kill Team is that the models remain as a snapshot until the end of the full action. So all rules and everything stay in place in that situation. But let's say you shoot my Enlightened with one of my shamans in it, right? You're gonna want to slow roll that, especially if you have precision. Specifically if you have precision, you need to slow roll that. I guess you don't need to slow roll it. The saves are slow roll, definitely, because if you precision down the shaman, the moment the shaman's dead, the feel no pains are gone. Oh, it's a bomb. This will most likely never happen, but aberrants with a leader, you need to slow roll, because with a leader, wound rolls are reduced by 1. I think at all times. It's either at all times or when the strength is higher. I think it might be strength higher. Right? So if you're firing at them in a way with somehow, you need this combo, and I don't know if it exists in 40k. The weapon you shoot at them with needs to be... Where are they? Needs to be strength 7. And it also needs to have precision. If those 2 things exist, you need to slow roll against them. So it probably will never happen, because I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. But basically, if you fire into this squad, your wound rolls are reduced by 1 until the leader dies. So if you're firing strength 7 precision shots at a squad, and I have, let's say, a Biophagus at the helm, he doesn't get any feel no pains. And he only has 3 wounds. He doesn't have an invulnerable. So like you could straight gib this guy. Like you could just kill him. And then the wound roll reduction goes away the moment you kill him. So if you have more shots coming from that squad after the fact, they no longer suffer the -1. So that's just something you need to think about when you're getting ready to roll. And again, it's probably a rarity in that instance. All right, we got to figure out what needs to be brassed. We'll brass the bullet casings here. But it's cool, man. I can't wait. Friggin' 4-player tournament next month. I'm gonna tinker with the list that I'm taking. Hopefully I can get a couple local games in to get used to it even more. And I'm just gonna hyper focus on this list. The list is, for those who weren't here every time I've been saying it, an Abominant Knight as an ally for Thousand Suns. The detachment itself is Thousand Suns, but it has a Knight Abominant in it, 2 Blue Horror Squads as allies as well, 1 Changeling, 2 squads Rubrics, an Exalted Sorcerer, Ahriman, 1 Hellbrute, which I think I'm going to make a double fist Hellbrute, and I'm going to have him probably sit in reserve occasionally. It has a Terminator Sorcerer Lord with a squad of Sorks. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, 2 squads, Chaos Spawn. Still feel like I'm missing something. No, I could see that. Because they all have different abilities, right? So you kind of need to know who's dying in what sequence in order to lose certain functions and abilities. I wish they just snapshotted at the beginning. Like when you declare a unit shooting unit, it's just a snapshot of those units in that situation. It would resolve so many issues and make fast rolling better, but I think they want precision to potentially do great things, right? Like if we take, again, look at the Gene Stealer cults. I think I'm gonna do the lever actions in brass and the main guns in regular. That'll be fine. We'll do shoulder pads in brass though. Not knee pads. Knee pads will stay metallic. Like regular metal. Like you look at, let's say you're rocking, again, Gene Stealer cult because I'm really getting into them. And I'm enjoying a lot of the weird stuff they do for how few units they have. They've got like, Gene Stealer cults have more characters than units. It's excluding allies, of course, which I think a lot. They basically want most of your stuff to be allies to a degree, even though it doesn't really help that much. That's why no one goes it. But if you take a look at the Atlan Jackals and you give them a Jackal Alphys, the Jackal Alphys has a single shot precision sniper rifle that's actually really good. Like standard. It's a really good sniper rifle. The rest of the unit has pretty decent guns, but they're like regular, right? Like they just do their regular thing. So if you were to fire this squad into my enlightened shaman, or my enlightened Zangors with shaman, you could open with the cult sniper rifle to try to kill the shaman. If you do, no more feel, no pains. So like I think they want that to be a system where you have the ability to negate certain abilities, change certain functions by killing specific units if you have the ability to choose. And then it makes it easier. Like it's just, so when the meta comes around where it's like, oh, Chronomancers in this squad is god tier, or even the Flash Gits thing. I don't know if you've seen the Flash Gits for orcs. They are god tier Overwatch. I just watched a tournament where the Flash Gits overwatched into a champion running at them, and the champion just took like so many wounds. It was so wild because they still had to roll, I think, on 6s, but 6s explode and they re-roll all their hit rolls. Like it's just so crazy, and they get so many attacks. Because I think they had Bad Rock in them or something. I think that's the combo. I'm learning all these combos, and it feels good. Feels so good. Because I usually run an Abominant and the Aberrants, but I've seen a lot of people run Biophagus. I still think I'm going to run the Abominant. I'd rather my Abominant brick be a super tank brick, because if someone tries to precision me down, they have to precision down an Abominant, and that's almost never happening. How long is this? The freaking 2-hour-long song? I forgot about this. Let me move forward. Flash Gits. Yeah, Captain Badrock. Sustained hits 1, heavy. They're standing still. This weapon has an attack characteristic of 4. Each time a model in this unit targets the closest eligible target with its snaz gun, it goes from attacks 3 to 4. Which usually, when something's charging you, they're probably one of the closest. Like, you have to do a weird thing with them to make it work differently. Once per battle, when this unit is selected to shoot, it can use this ability if it does until the end of the phase. Ranged weapons equipped by models have lethal hits. Technically, you can just use that when you overwatch if you really feel like it. But then I think Badrock does something. Yeah. You can reroll the hit roll. When an enemy infantry unit is within 6 inches of the model, subtract 1 from the toughness characteristics of the model in that unit. So again, if they're close range and they're going to try to get in on you, it's just what? They usually full brick this squad, I want to say. So it's 10 at 4, 40 attacks with Badrock's additional, I want to say, what is it? 3, so 43 attacks, sustained 1 on 6s, reroll everything. God, that's such a crazy combo. I'm gonna brass these things that are on his ammo belt here. Like, there was an orc player that was dominating a tournament I was watching literally because of his flash gets. They were so powerful, man. I don't know how many orc players we have locally. I know one of our NID players became an orc player. Because, you know, they're basically the same thing to a degree. Nids go more monsters. Orcs go more machines. But, like, he loves their playstyle. He has a lot of mounted infantry units he just loves rushing downfield with. It's a good time all around. Rarely do you see an orc player not smiling. What up, Arturo? Trying to work a little bit into the Kroot that I started off stream. I want to try to at least get a good bit of them done. Because they're close at this point. I just need to do like some minor details. We're going to pick a highlight color to work on some spots with. And just rapidly machine gun through them. Until I can put their basing paint on, and then we're going to call it for them. It's okay. I'm trying to figure out how to do better with B-roll for recording. I think I have an idea. I had one with me, but like the way I had it set up, it didn't quite work how I wanted it to. I like how they look, though. I definitely think the highlight colors are going to be important, because everything, if you really look at them, everything kind of feels very, like, samey, I guess, would be the word for it. Like, most of the elements of these characters are all within the same parameter for, like, hues, which arguably is more, quote, realistic, unquote. There shouldn't really be a lot of standout components that are just like way brighter or anything than the rest of the model, but you know me, I still kind of want to do it. We're probably going to get like Mephiston Red to enhance the capes and stuff. We're probably going to try to get a decent light green to put some highlights on the flesh tone. We'll try some things. Is this Ice Demon? No. I've grown to like the Kroot as a concept. I wouldn't play them. This isn't a, hey, the codex dropped, and therefore I'm really thinking of buying a Kroot-only army. This is me just saying I actually kind of enjoy them as a thing in 40k. I know it's kind of like not, I guess, normal to say that for some people. I've seen some people vehemently against the idea that Kroot are a thing in 40k. They just don't like that there's this weird faction that's like muskets and hunting dogs and, you know, that stuff. And they're like, that doesn't really fit when you consider that they're fighting 10-foot tall armor-clad monster people with explosive bullet, fully automatic guns and yeah, sure. But I guess it's kind of that weird connective feeling with like nerd shows like Firefly and stuff that this feels like it's kind of focused from. That like sci-fi old western, right? Sci-fi spaghetti western, I guess would be the full term. And who doesn't want to root for an underdog in most situations? Even though you guys really aren't an underdog, have you guys seen the stats for the freaking Skinner gun? Dude, the last thing you want is that Skinner gun coming through a wall and just ending you. Oh, you're going it's hard to say. My friend knows more about the Hunter-clad or Hunter-clade than anything else. Let me take a look. I know most people, it depends on the map. Like, you tend to go more melee focused when you're in close quarters, and then you tend to go more ranged focused in the open field. Most of the time you take an Aquabus because you can actually be horrible with that Aquabus. If you learn how that Aquabus works, how the base works for it, you're going to realize how miserable of a human being you can be using that in the game because of the obscuring rules. Because if you've seen the videos, you know that if any part of the base that is seen while crossing a heavy terrain line is considered, it sort of makes the unit like obscured. Like there's ways to do it where you can make sure all parts of your base are outside of 2 inches, right, of the heavy terrain. And then you can arc, because the base is an oval. Do I have an oval sitting around here somewhere? No. I think my ovals are put away in the box. But you can kind of like center it behind heavy terrain 2 inches away and then arc the butt of it slightly into a different direction so that you can draw cover lines from the butt of the base to people, which means you can easily see them. It's not a problem. But when they draw back to you, most of their lines are going to hit components of the base that are 2 inches away from the heavy, meaning that model's obscured. It's just obscured. Like, it's the most obnoxious unit in the game if you know how to use it to its fullest potential. But the adaptability of the team is pretty good, and I know they changed their rules recently. I think the second to last data slate fixed sort of their doctrines, because their doctrines were a little obnoxious, I thought people said. Like, one of their doctrines just didn't feel useful at all, and I think they just enhanced all of it to make it work a little bit better. Because it was like, if this, then that, and then they got rid of the if this. They're just like, you just get the bonus. We don't care anymore, you get the bonus. Each time a friendly hunter clad operative makes a shooting attack and the roll attack dice step. Yeah, it's like rerolls and stuff. They do a really good. Yeah, equalized imperatives, no effect. They got rid of the equalized imperatives because that just sucked. Like, the idea of taking a debuff for a buff felt stupid. So you don't need your debuffs anymore. Enjoy. Yeah. Doctor can be selected each turning point instead of only twice. Ignore each imperative's deprecation effect. So good. I think now's the time to play them. Now is definitely the time to use them because they were strong before by the people who knew how to use them. I think they won a few LVOs. I think they won one LVO. They beat Orion was playing Gellerpox and he was doing really well or something. But then like there was just a guy playing the Hunter Clade and he just stopped him in his tracks. It was great. I am hoping that they clarify the rules. I think I have the box here now. I can show you this. What time is it? 1:17? I'm not that worried. We've got the rest of the week to finish these guys. Let me go grab something for you to show you what I'm talking about. So to those who aren't familiar with Underworlds, Underworlds, usually when you buy the starter sets, you get rule books. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Let me move the lighting. Now, you know in Kill Team we got rule books and everything as well, but the thing that I always hate is that there's all these little arguments with when you're supposed to go, what sequence certain things occur at, when do certain interruptible abilities trigger. Like, there's not a lot of specifics, which if you've ever been to my Phobos video and scroll through the comments, you'll see the oceans of people who tell me I'm wrong about when guerrilla tactics is used. The guerrilla attack or whatever, the double strike ploy. A lot of people are like, that's not how that works. You don't have to do that. And I was like, pretty sure it does, but okay. So, if you've never seen Underworlds, let me try to not get glare on this. This is a turn sequence in a flow chart. It tells you exactly when things can occur, why they occur, and in what sequence they occur. This is the game for combat. It also gets very explicit about the steps per activation. The steps... Oh god, the lighting. The steps for interrupting. That's a flow chart that you can hardly see because of the light. This is we need, in my opinion, we need this. We need this for frickin' Kill Team. So if they do 3rd edition, whoever the hell wrote their rules for Underworlds and then decided to figure out how to show people the rules, that person needs to do the book for 3rd edition. 100% that person needs to do the book for 3rd edition. Because there's a lot of wishy-washy wording and what we consider to be Games Workshop gray in the writing of the Kill Team 2nd edition rulebook. What the hell? In my opinion, it's the biggest issue with Kill Team. It's just that you look at the rules and it leaves you thinking that there needs to be more information. And honestly, I think you just use that to build off of what already exists. They already seem to be like completely fine putting out team rules, right? Like we have the Hand of the Archon rules, not the Hand of the Archon. We have the Blades of Cain rules. We have the Scout rules. I imagine we're gonna get the Night Lords rules as well as the Mandrake rules, just on their website, right? So in 3rd edition, why not just drop all those team rule updates so that the wording of their abilities and everything work within the confines of 3rd edition? So that all the teams I have, and I have a lot of teams, are suddenly not worthless, right? Like, I imagine a lot of us would really enjoy being like, I love playing Star Striders. I really hope my Star Striders stay a part of the game and that I'm still able to play them going forward. And then for them to be like, yes, you can still play your Star Striders. Because even if you as a person don't buy more teams because like the only reason you want to play Kill Team is because, let's say, the Star Striders are your favorite thing of all time, then there you go. Games Workshop has you as a player to go to events to push the concept of the game to others and to give people in the local scene someone else to play. Meanwhile, they're still releasing more teams. And then at some point, who knows, maybe another like Rogue Trader style team will drop and you'll be like, yes, I will also pick these up and I will have another team now. Because why not, right? Maybe you'll find something like that that gets you interested. Because I think the key thing here is that I think Games Workshop needs to start to understand that just removing things and expecting people to then move to something new and be okay with it isn't always going to be the case. I kind of get it with what they did for AOS with this, God, now I'm already forgetting their names. No, my brain. I've been thinking too much and it's killing me. Yeah, Stormcast. I keep wanting to say Stormborn because I think it sounds cooler. But yeah, Stormcast. Like, I kind of get it, because as far as anyone could tell, they had so many models in their line that no one wanted to buy. So, like, yeah. If it kind of sucks, because, like, even locally speaking, right? This was actually used in a Reddit post, or a news story. This was a Reddit post that was put up by a person local to me that actually got put into some Warhammer news on a site, and it was that he was super proud that he had finished his Stormcast army in preparation for AOS 4th edition, right? The 4th setup. And every model in his army is going Legacy. All of them. Every single one's going Legacy. I don't think he bought a single model that wasn't getting pulled to Legacy. And that heavily sucks, but at the same time, I mean, he's the rarity, right? Which doesn't change the fact that it sucks. But then the question, of course, starts popping up, like, are Thousand Suns, like, interesting enough for people that I don't have to worry about them going, we're getting rid of the bulk of them and you're just going to play Chaos Space Marines now? Like, am I at least relatively safe? I think I am. I feel like if they were like, you're playing Chaos Space Marines, I'd be like, okay, fine. I mean, I have Chaos Spawn. I have Sorcerers. I could still technically be like, I'm playing Chaos Space Marines. I realize they're the old Thousand Sun models. It's the same bases. Whatever. But then you look around at other things and you got like, you just got all the Kroot stuff recently. And I know a lot of people were talking about it, but I'm also wondering if it sold as well as they had hoped. Because how crazy would that be if after all this, for all the people who are like, oh my god, Kroot, oh my god, they were just like, no one bought them. We're gonna Legacy in the next edition the bulk of the Kroot. And that's kind of the worry at that point, I guess. It's like, what else is on the docket to get pulled? And you kind of hope not a lot, but you never know. And I keep seeing people talk about one-page rules and how a lot of people are like, we'll just go play that. I'm looking to play tournaments, bro. So let me demystify something about myself that I've been wondering for a second. Let me open Best Coast Pairings, because Best Coast Pairings doesn't care what format of anything you play. They want you to be able to find tournaments and games. That's the whole purpose. Game systems. Scrolling. Here we are. One-page rules, Grimdark Future. I'm gonna go with 100 miles from my current location, excluding online, till the end of August from today. Search. No events found. So for the next 5 months, in 100 miles around me, no events found for one-page rules, Grimdark Future. Scroll back to 40K. Search. Oh dear God, there's so many results. All offline, of course. That's kind of the problem. I get it. As a person who, when Privateer Press came out, was like, yo, I kind of want to get out of 40K and go to War Machine. Experiencing that and then seeing kind of like the attempt at tournament play, but then like not actually getting anywhere near where I live, or like there was only like one person that lived locally to me who was like, I like to play I like to play War Machine. Every store in this area stopped carrying War Machine, I think last edition. Like, there's just not enough, you know, support for it out here to make people want to play it. Ooh. My Orc Commandos are done. Were you here when I finished them? I posted pictures. Hang on. I love them. I love them so much. I finished varnishing them and everything. I love how they came out. Because I did something I haven't done yet in my process. Basically, I airbrushed the opener for the underglow, and then I did the physical painting to give them their basic colors. And then I went back and I airbrushed again for glow effects. So like the barrel of his gun is like super bright, like it's just overheating and going crazy. Most of their gun barrels are set up that way with like a 2-stage glow effect. And then we redid the glow on the basing as well. I probably should have did the bases as like a dark color and then did the glow, but like I'm fine with it. So yeah, you got the gun barrel as a chartreuse to magenta. Most of the gun barrels that I have set as like an overheating barrel are chartreuse to magenta. One-page rules seems fine for what it is. I will say that. It's just like, I'm looking to play tournaments. If it was just my local group, like if it was me and my friends and we were like, let's just get into something that we can just get into real quick and it's not a big deal, we probably would have started looking at one-page rules. Oh my, the zap gun, hang on. Frickin' candy cane color. Or candy floss color. Full lighting. Fluorescent pink to blue with the fluorescent magenta light on the side of it. That's partially on the side of his face. Even like the small barrels. Like I like that the small barrels are just like slightly heated. Pew pew. They were fun. I'm happy with how they came out. I kind of want to do an overview video of them. But I'm in the process of moving things. So most of my recording stuff is over here. And I got to get like a setting on this table that I have to my side right now. I have to get a backdrop for it so it doesn't look so weird to look at. Because then I can start recording on there, which is good because then it just free flows everything I need. All my recording, like my stands, my recording stands and everything are already here. That's what this camera is attached to. I just got to get a better backdrop behind my side table so I can get you guys some cool stuff. Start getting some recordings going. I want to do the Commandos overview. Farstalker kin band. Vet guard when they're done. And then Games Workshop will drop 3rd edition and be like, all those teams no longer matter. And I'll be like, no. No, my channel. Best case scenario, the teams still exist. And I'm gonna need to do like follow-up videos. Like I'll still put like most of those videos in like an archive for Kill Team 2.0. And then we'll just get into 3.0 and maybe a different fashion that's like a little bit faster while simultaneously still covering enough to let people understand what's going on. Because I feel like I covered most of like the main rules for 2.0, like close quarters and everything. So for them to change the rules up into like 3.0 would probably have me have to redo all the basic rules overview videos. The Votan are interesting. I feel like I always hear that they don't do that great, but that they're like kind of fun to play. Like, I don't know. They should be strong, especially now with all their upgrades and everything that's changed in the data slates. I think most people are saying by the end of the year for 3rd edition Kill Team, which I really don't think they should do because AOS coming out. But I mean, what we're constantly hearing about like big changes. I think, what is it? Warcry getting folded into Mordheim, basically. Or becoming the new Mordheim or something. Like, they're trying to do things to sort of give people reason to play certain modes that might not be getting as much exposure as possible, I guess. This guy out here building whole ass hive cities. Yeah, supposedly like they're trying to reassess some rules concepts for things like Warcry to get more people into the idea of doing Warcry stuff, because they want small scale AOS that's even like closer to skirmish than what the new Spearhead is supposed to be. So there's a lot we need to see what they're gonna do with, honestly. The hell is this song? Scroll, 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 scroll. Day of Chaos. Yeah. Probably why so many channels go Games Workshop news more than anything else. Honestly, they just need to clarify rules. They need to better utilize the rules. They need to get them sorted properly. If they can find a way to keep Kill Team going in the same fashion that like 40K got kept going between 9th and 10th, where it's like, hey, you already have stuff, congratulations, you can still use stuff. But then like giving you maybe a different rule set that still kind of feels the same way, but maybe has a little more focus on something or a slight change somewhere else. Because like, even though there's RNG in Kill Team, just like every Games Workshop game, I always felt like I could control it more than what I can in 40K. Probably because of the team that I play, I don't know. I feel like a lot of my opponents that I fight against are like exactly what I love about Kill Team in their team, with the whole like, oh, I get to do a ton of stuff that makes sure my dice rolls don't suck, and I'm like, oh, I don't get to do that. No. My army's pure casino. I have to roll d6s to see how much damage my Doombolt does. Really wish I didn't, you know, rest my stratagem, my turn-based strategy entirely on whether or not I can roll a 5 or a 6 on a dice. So here we go. That sounds nice, man. I don't really play Necromunda due to the abject randomness of it at times, but I mean, I get that it's fun for narrative. But like, dude, there was a league at my local store playing Necromunda, and like, there were so many new players who they wanted to get into it, to the point where I feel like the guy running the league basically put together care packages from the store to be like, here's the rules that matter for whatever team you're about to play. You know, you told me the team you like, I know what you're gonna play. Here's the package you need to purchase to be able to run that perfectly well. And he was like, oh, everyone was like, oh, cool. They all picked their stuff up. They went ham painting it. You know, they had this whole thing laid out before them. And I remember one of the new players was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna love this. First game he played, I think like half his gang died. Like he rolled death on the wound chart for him. Like half of them. And like 3 of them died by like accidentally blowing themselves up. Like it was so bad. And then the GM was like, oh, well, let me slip you a little like benefit here as the GM to make sure you don't feel like it's over and you have no reason to come to these games anymore. So he gave him like a special leader unit. Like he gave him stuff. Like he gave him an extra thing in the game to like try to keep him up to par and power level with how everyone else was doing and blah 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 blah. And like I was there for his second game where like all the new units he was given by the games master or dungeon master, I don't know. I guess it's games master because it's not really a dungeon. The necromaster. I was there when he lost them all again. They died again. It happened. Like he fired a grenade or something and he rolled a misfire and it like exploded and he had 3 of his other units near it and he rolled all the wounds for it and they all died. And then he rolled the death dice or the wounds dice and I think 2 of them died. Like he rolled deaths on 2 of them. I can't play that game. I get that it's like it's a game, it's supposed to be fun, but like you're round 2 and you're losing everyone you get constantly because of your dice rolls. Dude, that's table flip moment for me. That's just, no, I'm never doing this again. It was not good. New Necromunda terrain looks good though. I love what they've done with it because it's like mildly modular. Pretty cool. What time is it? Almost 2 o'clock. I am gonna want to try my Vetguard color scheme idea out soon. I need to make sure it looks good. Guy with goggles, and I think there's a guy with binoculars on the back of his pants. I did pick up Wrath and Glory though. I need to look up how to do that. I think it'd be cool to run a Wrath and Glory mini campaign on like Discord or something. Record it. We do need to do the bird. I gotta grab the colors I want for the bird. Where's the binocular guy, though? Binocular man. Pretty sure he's standing. This guy? No. This guy. One of them has binocs. I can't remember who does it. You? Yeah, it's you. No, yeah, I figured. Pen and paper tabletop is really where it goes for like solid, just do what you want kind of stuff. And for a lot of the situations, it's kind of timeless. Like normally with pen and paper, they try to just expand the game. They don't often try to change it too much. I mean, sometimes you'll get new editions and stuff, but normally it's like, we're still in this edition, and they've just released the 10th expansion that provides all these new monsters and classes, and it's like, oh, that's cool. That's fun. So it's like pretty consistent. Okay. How do we want to do this? I think we'll do the bird first because he's only like a couple colors. We need uniform gray and ash gray. Only a little bit of each. Don't need a lot. I also bought a ton more boxes for the decks of cards for Underworlds. I like my system that I use to store those. The 2-color sleeves for cards and then the clear hard plastic for the heroes. I just picked up the starter set as well. Which means I have 2 more teams that I'm not putting together necessarily, but I might eventually put together, honestly. I think it's just 2 more teams. Come on. I'm going to have so many squads. Chest plumage. It's a burb. And head plumage. I think that could be cool. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. It's yet another thing in my head where I'm like, oh, this would be great. Hopefully I can find people to play. Hopefully my my local group. I mean, maybe from the actual group, because I don't know if most of my close friends are going to be able to be like, yeah, I'll set aside time. Like, one of them's getting married. So like, that's pretty much shot. Like that's his life at this point. One of them during summer doesn't like staying indoors. That's a personal choice, which, yep, fully agree with. He just prefers to be active in the summer because summer is awesome for that. All right, simple little plumage, simple little components. So it'll come down to whether or not the group I play like 40K with that's like greater than my my local friends group. Looking for a dark blue. Oh, where's the deep blue? There it is. It's whether or not they'll be down for like possibly getting on Discord and playing. Because I feel like it could be something that's played over Discord. I kind of wish we played locally though, because the idea was we probably, between me and my friends, have enough models on hand to sort of represent the characters, no problem, right? So I could actually do things where like on the table I put things down that represent like the characters, the monsters, the bad guys, all that stuff. And I could have like a camera that kind of moves around. No, I don't want to. I get Tabletop Simulator and that's fine, but like I watch people play some of these games on Tabletop Simulator. That's like, that becomes their channel, right? Like they're just like, I play 40K, but they only play Tabletop Simulator 40K. And I don't know, man. Like it loses the same magic to me. Because the whole premise of tabletop games, to me, the thing that got me to come back is the notion that the people that I'm playing against are like right there, right? Like they're right in front of you. Like video games, I feel like I enjoy them, but they also do something to the people that play them that just isn't good, right? Yeah, let me do a little bit of edge highlight with this dark blue up here. They just like, they separate you from what you're interacting with in a way that kind of makes you, I don't know, it like ruins people. I've seen people who you don't expect to like act certain ways because they're playing like an online game just start acting like an idiot, and you're like, really? That's all it took? Was the disconnect between you and the person you're playing against to suddenly become like a freaking animal? That's weird. So the magic of the tabletop game is the person-to-person interaction, right? And to go to Tabletop Simulator, it like removes that magic to be like, at least you get a game in, right? Yeah, but it also creates a weird situation. Hell yeah, blue quills. So I don't know. It's just, it's something I was kind of like, eh. I have the program, I just never thought I wanted to use it for the channel. Although I've noticed BCP involves those. Apparently there's a bunch of tabletop tournaments done through Tabletop Simulator, literally because, I guess, of COVID. Like, COVID kind of forced the tournament scene into the Tabletop Simulator, like, arena, which, yeah. You want to continue that type of thing. You want to keep people, like, interacting. You want to keep that competitive function kind of in the forefront of people's minds. You go to Tabletop Simulator when people can't meet or go to a place. And I think what we're getting with it now is like the constant, I guess. It's like we've already ripped that band-aid off and people realize it's easier. Like, I agree, it's easier. Once you figure out how to run the program and like get everything set up properly, it's easier. I don't need the terrain on hand. I don't need to travel. You know, I could do it from home on the side monitor while I'm doing like my night shift editing work for the channel that I work for. Like, there's that feeling of just like, oh yeah, it's cool, but then like this is gone. No reason for it. The small venue 3v3 tournament I went to was awesome. The people in it were great to talk to. It was just really fun. It was a great time. And like, you 100% aren't going to get that by just ordering Uber Eats and then just chilling in your computer chair while playing in a tournament. What's up, Diver? We being sad boys. Gonna get these freaking Farstalkers done though. Gotta get this Kroot kill team set. What's up, Gut Grinder? A lot of people in the day. Good Monday so far. My video is not getting a lot of viewership, but it is a 40K video on a channel that did kind of start out using kill team stuff. I don't care. Honestly, I heard about it, and all I could think was I kind of want to make a female custody character. Like, I want to paint one. Because it's one of those situations where it's like, man, this was really pissing people off because they have tied most of their ego to a fake game that just isn't real. It's not real, bro. When I do stuff in the 40K universe, I don't view these people like the Kroot and all that as like their 100-year history, lore, blah, 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 blah. I view them as toughness 3, armor save 5. They get these benefits. Like, that's the part I care about with 40K, is creating the solvable puzzle. Creating a thing. Like, I'm like me using blue horrors in my Thousand Suns army because I don't have access to deep strike and infiltrate. That's all I'm thinking of. Do not care about anything else. But at the same time, I think you could do some really cool conversions. Right? Like, there's some really cool Necromunda heads from like the all-female Necromunda team, right? Like, there's that all-female gang that have like mohawks and stuff. How cool would that be? Have a Custodes character with one of those heads if they're decently sized, you know? Because I know Custodes character models are usually bigger than normal, so it's gonna be hard to find a decent sized head to make that work. But I straight up would do Custodes Wardens with like all their helmets off, and they're just all chicks with these huge mohawks. I'd be like, this is great. Paint that whole army to be like a 80s frickin' retro punk kind of deal. I think it'd be fun. But dude, like I last night on Twitter when I was getting ready to head to sleep, that was like the only thing I saw. Like I saw Warhammer trending, and my first thought, stupidly, because it's Twitter, was, ooh, maybe they announced something really cool last night. And lo and behold, my surprise when I clicked on it, and like one of the top things I saw was a guy posting up his financial history of everything he bought at Games Workshop and being like, this is who you're losing by doing this. And I'm like, wow, man. Whoa. Like, it's wild. It's wild to see. Cause like, I don't care. I think the only issue that would really cause me problems is if like major I guess thematics for teams that I enjoy suddenly change. Like, could you imagine if like next month they were, or whenever they dropped the Gene Stealer Cult Codex, they were like, we don't like that they're kind of an ambushy, sabotagey team, so we're gonna move them over to to, you know, all being on the field. They're going to be focused exclusively on defense. So like they're going to be very durable. And it's like, oh, I mean, well, I guess we'll take a look at the rules. And if I don't want to play a durable team, I'll see if anybody wants my Gene Stealer cults I painted. I don't know. Or either that or I'll store them and then maybe you'll change the rules again. But like, you get nerds wilding out online because I saw the post where they were like, you drop the codex that has drastically weakened the durability of the Custodes. At the same time, you said that there's women in the Custodes. What are you saying, Games Workshop? And it's like, to be clear, you're the weird one here. To be clear. I keep forgetting Mephiston Red is friggin' basing. I want to do that. Dragon Red. Oh, we need blood for the Blood God. Where'd you go? And yeah, Arturo. That's like the main reason I don't really want to use TTS. Is like if the reality is I need to go online to play a game against someone, I'm probably just gonna play a game against someone, right? Like I had another channel meant for that. This channel was technically meant for that as well. This channel was used as a gaming channel for Splash Damage's Dirty Bomb for a while, because I love Dirty Bomb. And then I moved it over to an art channel. And then when Gigantic came out, I made a second channel for Gigantic. And then Gigantic died. And now it's back. Huzzah. And, yeah. Let me get... Did I grab the other Glistening Red? Dragon Red, there we are. So, like, if I were to, you know... like just game, like if I was like, oh, I'd rather just play online, then I'm not probably gonna play 40k. There's games that are actually designed to be played online. Also, we do need to I feel like we need to reinforce local tournament scenes. Because I am already starting to see all the videos popping up of people talking about how like local stores are all shutting down and like local scenes are all collapsing. I feel like maybe if we reinforce it a little, you know, actually taking part in local stuff might help a little bit in some places, not all places. Could be fun, could be useful. Supposedly one of my local stores is moving soon, which I get because the location it's in is ridiculous. The rent in that area is so high because it's a college town. And the companies that run that area are just straight up like, hey, we're going to constantly raise your rent. Like, nonstop. It's just going to go up like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars a month every single time. Because we know this is prime real estate. So they're definitely looking to go to other places. I mean, the economy doesn't help, but I also feel like it's weird, you know, the tabletop genre and all that. For a lot of people, Magic the Gathering and Pokemon tend to drive the most sales because of the secondary markets. Like, secondary markets for a lot of this are huge for gaming stores. Huge. Like, the average local card slash comic slash like board game slash whatever store in this area will generally tell you like Lorcana and all that, like all these big games for like fans. Those are the things that are keeping them in business. So like a lot of the stores that came out and were like, oh, we do box games. You want to play Dead of Winter? I mean, Dead of Winter is a good game, but I only need to buy it once. And my 4 friends that play it aren't going to buy it as well because I already bought it and we don't need frickin' 5 copies of it. So there's just that level of like the standard board game is probably not efficient. And I feel like most of those stores didn't do like a decent online presence to try to sell their stock off. Like, kind of like Warpfire Minis and Valhalla Games and all them do it, where they sell pretty good discount rates online usually, just to try to get stuff out of their store so they can constantly be churning income. Like a lot of stores just kind of were like, hey, we have stuff. You want to buy it? And then everyone went, I already have it. And they were like, oh no, and closed. Sort of like computer cafes in the US. Like, computer cafes never work. Oh, there's probably like 2 in all of the country that actually exist. And arcades always have to be like tied to something. Like, the big thing I think is barcades, because it's alcohol and arcades, which when you don't want to have your stuff get destroyed, you tend not to want to mix it with alcohol. So hopefully they have good insurance. No, that kind of stuff. So we got to get a bone tone, and then we got to get like a beige tone for the guns. I have my idea for both. Scary music. What's the song? Echoes of Time. Nah. Sounds similar? No. Ooh. It's like the credits music for frickin' Scott Pilgrim show. I kind of want to make just a meme a little bit. I wish my buddy wanted to go to more tournaments, and one day he might. I don't know. But I kind of want to buy Trajan and make it female Trajan. So that when my friend goes to tournaments, he can use it. I want to see the response. Because my boy works out. So, like, when he's just standing there on the other side of the table, just Jack Diesel. And he's got female Trajan on the field. And there's some just angry nerd on the other end. I think that'd be great. This is Trajana Valoris. Anything to make nerds angry. You know, what we do. Sometimes it's the only way. It's the only way through. $215. I'm about to grab one of my vet guards so I can see the idea that we had to how to like make their armor beige. Not their armor, but their cloth. I want to do beige cloth and I want to do black armor. Because that looks cool as hell. The red on these guys is definitely going to need another tier up of tint, which we're probably going to get from frickin' whatever that, I think it's like Bad Moon Scarlet or something. It's whatever the Orc Scarlet is. Might need a little bit of purple as well. There is some purple fabric that they are wearing. So I wanted to give a little bit of like a difference in fabric tone. What's this? Oh, Medusa. Next page, please. Landing. this one might get saved for future use. I kind of know where this is going. Some people said they really like the new Kroot. Anything really cool? Like any wombo combos? We should probably start talking about that when I'm streaming and there's people in here. We should probably start coming up with like fun strategy. Like things people think could be really cool with something. You know, use this as sort of like a think tank area for people trying to figure out like which heroes might, or which characters might be good with what squads, or what tactics might be good if you need to fill something in. Like, I didn't know about the flash gits in Badrock. Badrock flash gits, so good. That's such a solid combo. Any orc players out there, definitely look into it if you feel the need to drastically increase your Overwatch potential. Yeah, we could do that too. We could talk about like fun, stupid things that might work. I mean, I already told you guys my idea for the Abominant. We've gone over it many times, and I thought when I played, it worked pretty well. It parsed pretty well into an avatar. Did enough damage to him that later on I was easily able to kill him. Which is kind of what I was aiming for. That's definitely what I was looking to do. I just didn't use him well enough against his Wraith Knight. I didn't place him well enough. It's something I really need to start getting better at. Just character placing. Use the terrain better, use obscuring better. I mean, these are things that Kill Team teaches me, so I need to refocus, because I do it all the time in Kill Team. I always make that fun play where I'm like, oh, I could sit right here and nothing can shoot back and blah 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 blah. And it's even crazier in 40k. You can actually do it a lot better in 40k, if I'm being honest. Like a lot better. You guys would actually be, if you haven't played 40k and thought about this, you'd be surprised. Where's my bone color? Here we are. And from some of the stuff I've looked at within 40k, I think there's a lot of fun room for memes. Like, again, I've seen tournaments and I've seen meme lists in tournaments, thanks to Wargames Live. If none of you follow him, I highly suggest it. He mostly only streams tournaments, which, yeah. Like, kind of cool. And I was watching I was watching one of his streams when a Imperial Guard player who used exclusively mounted cavalry kind of popped on the stage there. Zero people expected it. Everyone saw it and was like, how does that even work? And I watched as he outright dominated a Chaos Demon's army in melee. And he even memed the list itself. He had a bunch of the Seraphim, the lizard people from AOS. And I guess he didn't like the mounted Seraphim or something. Like he did something where he had like a ton of Seraphim mounts. So he put all the Imperial Guard on the Seraphim mounts. So it was just a bunch of human soldiers riding around on dinosaurs. It was great. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, we're gonna Zamasi Desert. The stocks on these, it's kind of the color I want it to be. Let me pull out the Scarlet real quick to do a quick test. What's up, Dragon? What you wait whattin'? Wait, what? All right, where's Scarlet? Piston. Here it's. Where you at, Scarlet? Really though, where's my Scarlet? Oh, there are Evil Sons. What you wait whattin'? So the goal with the Scarlet is to like water it down a bit. Thin it a little. We're mostly just gonna hit like our edges, man. Maybe blend it a little. Edge highlights specific parts. I don't want to overload it with this Scarlet color. A little much, it's a little strong, and it'll pull it away from the like more vibrant basic tones. So if we just do a little bit in some spots on some things, should do a good result. I feel like an Atlan Jackal heavy Gene Stealer cult army could be good. I completely forgot what the Atlan's Jackals do, because every time I read them, like every time I read about their rules, I always thought like, I don't really get it. But that's just because I was looking at their guns. I don't really like their loadouts. I don't really like anything about that. So when I decided to then look into them and I found out that Normally what happens is there's units in the game that exist that go, hey, if I fly over top of you, I roll X amount of dice, and the results are wounds for up to a certain amount or some other, you know, maximizer of potential. So Atlan Jackals to me were like just not like a good fast attack. And then when I read their ability, as opposed to just assuming their ability, as I usually do, turns out they're actually really cool. Once per battle, after the unit ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit within 6 inches of any visible and visible to this unit, and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. For each 4+ enemy unit suffers 1 mortal. And you can have 10 units in the squad, as well as a leader. And since it's per unit, that does mean you roll 11 dice to see how many mortals you pull off. Which is really nice at like getting rid of hard things to shift. Like, it actually does a lot of good work against like just kind of difficult stuff to deal with. Is pretty good in my opinion. Makes for a pretty decent unit. Because you can give them power weapons, and they're actually not bad at melee. Most likely you'll have to stack something with their melee to make it actually work, but I feel like an Alphys and some Jackals is a good idea. I might actually pick some of that up at some point here, just to have them on hand in case I want to use them. Because right now I've got a spare... I have a spare Aberrant squad, a spare Abominant. I think I have 2 Kellermorphs that I'm not going to be using. I think 2. I kind of hope I have 2 Kellermorphs that I'm not using, because if I only have 1, I'm probably never going to use it. But 2 Kellermorphs I could see tinkering with, because you do need that multi-Keller bomb if you really want to go for an enemy. I think I need to build 1 melee Talon at some point as well. Because Talons really are like the best one-off, lone-op mission doer for Genestealer Cult. Because they have the stealth, they have the lone-op. They're less points than Kellermorphs. But like the big thing about them is that they can advance and shoot. So they're like assault troops. They get to advance and still do the mission, which is pretty good. I don't think we touched the skin tone on this. I like the skin tone the way it is. Like, by working up the cloth and everything, we've kind of separated the cloth from the skin tone. It makes it feel almost like a different texture, a different element, a different quality. But then, like, if I did the same thing to the skin tone, I feel like the skin tone would feel exactly the same as the cloth, which is not what I want. I want the skin tone to feel like skin tone. Which I do feel like is what's happening here. All right, let me grab a vet guard. We have like 30-ish minutes. I want to try something with the vet guard. Where did I put them? Oh, they're there. They're so bright. Cut down the way to cut down brightness. Is it this way? It's this way. So I think the idea that I had at least, I think we do sand golem, because sand golem's like a dark-ish beige. And I have a lot of it, which is good. And all core fabric do I want all core fabric, or do I just want it to be the coat? Definitely the coat, so we're going to start with the coat. Behold. Death Core of Krieg. Definitely the coats. Shoulder pads, not so much. I think we'll do sleeves, not gloves though. We might try to do a hefty helping of Leviathan Blue, because Leviathan Blue in bulk does try to end up looking black. But with peaks that feel blue, I think that might help here. Worst case scenario, you do Leviathan Blue as a base, and then you apply like Black Templar in core areas over top of it. To try to push it to black. So yeah, beige overcoat. Is the idea. Which, dude, Sand Golem looks so good. Freaking Army Painter Speed Paint Sand Golem. I could almost be okay with it being just this. But I do want to go over it with Zamasi Desert to push it kind of closer to beige eventually. Are these, is that rolled up cuff links? I think these are rolled up cuffs. These aren't gloves. They're just rolled up cuffs. Okay. God, this is such a sexy freaking orange yellow. Brownish color. So good. Forgot how good this was. I used it on something forever ago and I completely forgot what it was. Might have been something on my Gellerpox. Perfect. Try Leviathan Blue. I'm going to try it. The issue is if it doesn't work, this guy's going to look a little awkward going forward. But we have Black Templar. My issue is every time I see dark armor characters and somebody just did like black contrast over white, it just doesn't, you can't tell. You don't see like any ridges or details or anything. Like you just miss out on all of that. Whereas choosing to go Leviathan Blue instead of black lets you do some mildly fun stuff. I might go Black Templar over top of the Leviathan. Push it darker. I do think it needs to go darker. Even full tilt, it's not getting as dark as it should, I think. Well, let's see what it looks like when it dries. I do not want Games Workshop to go to STL. Because, like, okay, so the problem with the STL market, I feel like at some point here, there's going to be like contract locked STLs, right? Like at some point someone's going to figure out how to make it so you need some kind of like consumer key. Like if they sell you the STL but then it comes with a USB stick that has to plug into the computer that's using it, or else it won't work properly. Like, there's going to be something that happens going forward. Because, like, STL, you sell one, next thing you know, it's on every Discord, like, in the nation. Games Workshop would sell the STL, and, like, they would sell one, and then there would just be a billion of it on the marketplace. So yeah, I don't think I'm finding out that that the rules that they have in place for models and like what they're cool with in terms of like exterior print stuff. I know there was that whole thing that they talked about a while ago where they were like, we don't want you just having an STL printed army, and everyone was freaking out that they're like, oh, if you print out like an STL rose and put it on a shoulder pad of a sister, they're not going to let you play the game. And I don't think that happened, right? Like that's not exactly what went down. It seems like they are cool with people being like, all right, so I definitely bought this box from you guys. I definitely used most of the parts that came in that box to make the thing. But then I did all this extra cool stuff on the side with like toys that I bought from a local dollar store and stuff like that. I think the main thing they didn't like from some of the stuff from the Golden Daemon tournament or the Golden Daemon paint show thing was that people did conversions with like copywritten characters. I think the one girl has a YouTube channel that I randomly stumbled into not that long ago, but she did the Oogie Boogie Man as the Great Unclean One, and it was a Great Unclean One. It wasn't like she just 3D printed an Oogie Boogie Man. It was like, yeah, this is kind of a Great Unclean One. No, she did a lot of work to make that actually the thing it was. But because it was, you know, a copywritten character, there becomes this like weird line where I imagine any lawyer would be like, let's not show that. Let's not put that out there. That something we created might be easily recognizable as a other IP. Let's not put ourselves up in that position to be scrutinized a little bit. Go a different route. I want to try to get a game in this week. It was cool. I loved it. She's from a YouTube channel. Just can't remember what it's called. Again, me being antisocial, I find something interesting on YouTube and I don't subscribe. Like passively. I watched a whole weekend worth of tournaments on Wargames Live before I had that moment where I took a step back and went, oh shit, I should probably subscribe to this guy so I don't lose him. So I don't have that moment where I'm like, man, I wish I was watching a tournament right now. Oh, who was that person? Who was that great person I was watching a week ago? Why can't I remember their name? I have that moment way too much. I think there's a fear in me, right? That like if I subscribe to too many people, I'm just going to start getting like notifications consistently about things. But I turn off notifications. I can't. I don't want to deal with them. I think we're going to go this dark blue for like all the armor. Except the guns will be baseline gray. The stuff on his chest will be baseline gray as well. Because I'm gonna hit them with a metallic color. I think the helmet is gonna start as Leviathan blue. I think a lot of this is gonna end up being, I think, Leviathan blue. But yeah, I remember there was that early on, I think last year, they were talking heavily about like you can't 3D print anything. But I don't think that's the case. Because like I think the last Golden Daemon I saw, one of the winners had like a bunch of 3D printed elements on top of the model that helped it out. So it's fine. I know the armies, at least on the tabletop, allow for that kind of thing. Yeah, so the trick is, I'm very vocal about this. I hate when someone's like, the armor is black, or this component is black, so I'm just gonna make it black. I think hate's a strong word. Hate's probably a bit of a strong word. I feel like it's one of those things where I'd rather the person be like, I want it to be black, so I'm trying to figure out what part of the color spectrum that black's gonna come from, and therefore what color the edge highlights and things need to be. I mean, there's always a place for like the straight up like gray and black kind of setup. Sure. But in a lot of instances, it's just not exciting to look at. It's just too flat. And maybe that's fine, I guess. There's probably some people out there who are worried about their skill level in painting, and they know that painting something really dark like that is going to cover up any mistakes or issues or lack of skill that they may believe they have. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think you need to go that far. Alright, this main backpack is also going to be within this color spectrum. The exterior components are probably going to be different. The main backpack and like the side pouches on it are going to be this color. I'm going to post this in my local Discord, and we have so many people who play Imperial Guard locally. You'll find that the average Imperial Guard enjoyer is a military nut. Like, not like a nut that's been in the military, but there's like super fans of military technology and concepts. Like, super fans. And Warhammer 40k definitely pulls these people in. Like, in bulk. And Imperial Guard is where they go. They love it. They want tanks, they want all that stuff. And they love the idea of the human condition persisting in a horrifying future filled with monsters and demons. And it's not all just super soldiers, it's literally just human beings on the most painkillers possible, running into the front lines. Screaming for the Emperor. It appeals to them. So we have a ton of Imperial Guard players, and I'll show off the gist of how I want these guys to go to them. Because you get the Leviathan blue down, and now we can switch over to Black Templar and go over top of that. If 3D print jump packs, heads, shoulder pads for Night Lord CSM, that I'm able to take it to tournaments. What's up, Slow? Okay, I don't want to say yes just off the bat, because then all it takes is that one tournament that's really strict for some reason to say no. But considering things I've seen at War Games, on War Games Live, at major tournaments, like all over the country and even in foreign countries, I'd say yes. So, like, what you're doing, right, is you're saying you want to do, like, Raptors, but, like, Night Lord Raptors, so that they just feel like Night Lords completely, even down to their jump packs and, like, general features, right? Like, are you using baseline Raptor models for it, or are you, like, upgrading Legionaries or something to that kind of a thing? Because I feel like as long as the base physical model, right, is what it should be, you should be fine. There is this notion, this concept of send it to the TO, right? Like, usually when a tournament's starting, you can take pictures of your army, and the TO will usually be like, here's my email if you have any questions or something. And you can just send the army into the TO to be like, I really like Night Lords. I don't like that there's not a lot of good conversion stuff for them. All right, I'll be able to turn the brightness up for you guys again, since he's mostly covered now. And you can just be like, so I want to be able to use these as my Night Lord Raptors because I really like how they look. And the person's going to look at them, and a couple things are going to occur there. Either one, it's a actual Games Workshop frontline tournament that's like major. It's very serious, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to make a call on whether or not you're fine with what you're showing them. Be specific too. Be like, hey, this is a box of Raptors that I converted to whatever or something. And they'll probably be okay with it, honestly. Most likely. They'll most likely give you a thumbs up. Horus Heresy models? Ooh, God. That is expensive. I was looking at a Horus Heresy model to make one of my Terminator Sorcerer Lords with, because I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to have this, like, old armor. This old Terminator armor become a Chaos Sorcerer Lord or a Thousand Sun Sorcerer in Terminator armor. That'd be fun. Holy shit, they're like $50. I don't want to do that. It's a no from me, dog. Like, the more I look into Horus Heresy, I can see why the people at the local store, like the managers at the local store, are trying to push more people to Horus Heresy. Dude, the costs on that. So massive. So ridiculous. But I think the main thing is the bases need to be the right size. And as long as the profiles of the models aren't smaller than that of like what the regular is, people tend to be okay with it. If what people see isn't like, hey, you're modeling for advantage, right? Which can get difficult at times. It can be sparse. It can be weird. Because I've been told that a lot of people play Helldrakes, like the Helldrakes that I have, but instead of doing all of the talons that the Helldrake has on its side, they'll do like just some of the talons, right? They'll do like one or two, and then they'll point them straight down so they look like a really sleek fighter jet. But if you do it that way, technically you're modeling for advantage, right? It was the same issue with the new tier of knight, like the much larger knight, the lancer and all that. because people were modeling the Lancer as like crouching and in a huddle, which that feels like modeling for advantage when you're trying to lower the profile and make it narrower. Which is kind of why I like Kill Team's method of using bases for that stuff, because you can't model for advantage a base necessarily. You could model for advantage the model on top, but like it's a little harder in that situation. Yeah, let me take a look at your question here in a second. I am locked in at trying to get the rest of this Black Templar down on his helmet. There's a slight dark blue on the ridges because of the Leviathan. Still, I'm going to have to do some edge highlighting. I can feel it. Fine. But like, it's a start. I think it's pretty good. Quick question. I learned something from all the games I've played. Do you think I should get a unit of infiltrators, terminators, or another turret or two? What? What? Wait, are you buying turrets? I'm trying to remember. Let me reassess in my brain what we're talking about. You play the salamanders, right? Are you the one I've been working with your list, and we've been trying to create fun things with the Stormlance? Or is that someone else? That's you, right? Same person? To be clear, I have issues connecting names. Like, I know events. I know general concepts and conversations I've had with people. It's very difficult for me to connect people's names with it if I don't see them in person. It's like weird. So yeah, your Firestorm Lance. You're wondering Terminators. What do you mean a turret? Are you using turrets, or is this a language thing? I know there's turrets that exist. I don't know. Terminator Squad, Terminator Assault Squad, Infiltrators. Oh, you're talking about putting, what are they called? I know what you're talking about. Infiltrator Squad. I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember. How much are those even? How much do those cost? The turrets. Hammerfall Bunker. No, that's not what it is. Servo turret? Stern guard. I'm not seeing that. Fire strike servo. WCD. Fire strike. There we are. 75 points. That's not bad for a backline that you can just leave in one spot. It is OC2, toughness 6, wound 6. That's actually really not bad. I mean, the problem is it doesn't look like it has indirect. Each time you select this unit for fire Overwatch, hits are scored on an unmodified hit roll of 4+. That's pretty cool. Especially if you Las Talon it. Although I probably would twin fire strike it. The twin fire strike autocannon. Hang on, getting a phone call. I mean, I'm not worried about the melee. It's nice to have a 4+ to hit in Overwatch with a mini las cannon or an auto cannon. Both are twin linked, which isn't bad. 2+ to hit. Auto cannon's 48 inches though. Where's Fire Overwatch? Does Fire Overwatch have a maximum range? 24 inches. So it doesn't really matter what you take at that point. And again, the issue is it's sitting all the way across the field, and you're gonna have to put it in vision of stuff if you want it to matter. Whereas most people would probably take TAC Marines, which I think make stuff sticky, which I thought we were talking about. I think someone makes something sticky. Oh, Intercessors, right? Intercessors make things sticky. Yeah, Intercessors. That's usually why people roll with the Intercessor squad of like 5, just to make the back point sticky and then fan out. Terminators, though, are a good concept for you. Where's Assault Squad? I wouldn't go Assault Squad. Or would I? Ends a charge move. At the start of the battle, you can set up 1 teleport. No, I wouldn't go Assault Squad for you. Heavy and fast armies this pass. Yeah, did you pop out of your vehicles and just unload into them, though? Speed is a thing. I'll definitely say speed is well played into. But if you go like a small squad of terms with like the heavy flamer or something, I think most people will probably lean into the assault cannon though. But the heavy flamer could be good because it has AP 1, whereas the assault cannon has no AP. And if you're deep striking them, you might want to rapid ingress them and then move within the range for your spear stuff to work and then just unload. No, yeah, these are an anvil squad. They're an anvil squad that you drop to make someone not have a good day. That's all they are. But be prepared for what you're doing it next to. I played a Black Templar guy who did that very thing in the middle of the field on one of the points. And then I rushed one of my trucks up with GSC and I did like 1,000 wounds to him. I did so many wounds. I chucked so much dynamite. I was like, here we go. And I started rolling all my dice and he was like, what's happening? I was like, magic, sir. Let it happen. I wiped a squad of Terminators in 1 turn. It was brilliant. No, and I get that. Putting them on deployment. It's just one of those things where you still have to remember what that means, right? Like, if your whole goal is to put them back there to defend the point, they're not going to see anything, A. Because most people's terrain with home deployments usually have a home base. Like, I've noticed a lot in games that the home deployment zone usually has a base. Like, it's usually like a building that blocks all sight outward. So that gun will be sitting on that point holding it, which is fine. It's not bad for the points cost. It's definitely something I'd be like, okay. But it's also a unit that's not getting you anything. For a lot of people, the benefit of the Intercessors with sticky and doing the rear sticky objective and then moving forward is that you can kind of position better with them and then try to apply some damage or screen better or just do something. But like, it's not always the case. I definitely understand the turret. But again, you're also kind of saying, hey, I'm hoping to Overwatch with this at some point. Which means you are going to need like a little bit of refined control over what you spend your command points on and what you do with like a lot of your stuff. Kind of important. It's an element of list building and unit purchasing that I think a lot of people don't understand, is that if you're buying a unit because you're like, ooh, this will be really good with heroic intervention, this will be really good with the interrupt thing for melee, This will be really good. Like, you go down the list and you're like, wow, this is really good for these, but you only have so many command points to spend. So if part of your goal is to be like, oh, I'll be able to Overwatch with this, you're going to need to make sure you always have a command point. And in my opinion, Firestorm Lance has some of the best command point uses that I've seen for, like, needing to use a ton of command points. If you want to, like, really dump fire and do horrible things to people. Like, yours is a command point bomb army, which is why, like, you said you did the captains. You use captains, and the captains are great because they reduce that cost a bit. But you're kind of like My Thousand Suns to a degree. My Thousand Suns, if you play them the way they're supposed to be played, which I don't, the whole point is to combine really good Cabal function and like one turn of just spending 3 command points. And if you can spend 3 command points, you're going to have so much on the field that's just like, and I'm going to kill everything you have. And that's it. That's the game. You have made squads active to be like, and sustains, and lethals, and all this other craziness, and everything's psychic, and blah, 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 and it just goes crazy. What do you think? Core color scheme of my Death Core. Beige coats, black armor. We're probably going to have to use the dark blue that I used on these guys' hair to kind of push some stuff. I may even need to buy a darker blue than what I have. I honestly think I do, because this blue's not as dark as I'd probably like it to be. If it's thin enough, it's actually not bad. Because I read their ability and they can deploy anywhere on the field and can't be placed with it. Oh yeah, so that's why I keep forgetting to look at them. So they have the infiltrator thing, and that's cool. Enemies units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves, they limit the 12-inch. They can, that's actually even bigger than what you think. It stops things from being deployed from reserves within 12 inches, which is a really good ability, especially now because a lot of people use uppy downy characters, and that'll keep them protected quite well. I imagine they might have a leader unit that's super useful because they have Phobos leaders, and Phobos leaders tend to help with the stealth aspect of existing for them. All right, there we go. Just a little bit extra blue, dark blue on the black. We'll do like a bright red visor or something, or bright green visor. I'll pick a color, maybe magenta. And then we got to figure out the rest of the components. But yeah, beige coats, black armor, baby. I gotta get moving. I gotta help my dad with moving stuff. Infiltrators are good though. For their cost, 5-man squad, probably at most. You probably don't need the full squad, and you could probably run more than one if possible. Infiltrators are great in that you don't have to set them up at the end of your deployment phase. You can set them up at the beginning. Because if I tell you that I have infiltrators, like my blue horrors, you can go, oh, that's cool. And then you can put your infiltrators out in a position where I can't put mine to attempt to body block you, which will give you more space and freedom from your deployment zone to do stuff, which is good. It's also anti-scout if you want to body block with them. You don't have to body block with them. You can move them to places that'll be good for your missions. But if you do body block, the cool thing is that scout move happens after deployment, and scout requires you to be 9 inches away from any enemy unit, which means if I am 9 inches from your deployment zone with a wall of blue horrors, you are not scouting outside your deployment zone. So infiltrators are very useful. Mechanically, I do like anything with infiltrate or scout. Specifically infiltrate. It's why I like blue horrors, because blue horrors are infiltrate and deep strike, so I can kind of use them in many different ways. If you tell me you don't have scout maneuvers or infiltrators or anything like that, I might leave them in deep strike for later use. But yeah, very simple. Good work today. Good work. Hopefully we're back Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. I gotta take some pictures and post them up. Later, everyone. Yeah, you can do that too. They're universally useful. I would definitely say try to have like one small thing of infiltrators just to play around with.